Farragut, Tennessee. We are going to answer 5 of the most frequently asked questions about Farragut, Tennessee. Let's dive in and get started. First of all, before we even go down this list of 5 questions, I want to tell you that Farragut was incorporated as its own entity in 1980. So just want to say that, like, it has a mayor, they have like a governing body. So there's like a town charter, there's a town municipal code, etc. So I just want to tell you that yes, it does sit within Knox County, but it's kind of its own entity in a sense. So just want to get that out of the way. Okay, that being said, number 1 question, how far is Farragut from Knoxville? Now, this smart aleck in me wants to say it's close. It's the same. Okay, because Farragut is in Knox County, so technically it is Knoxville. But it's like a rectangle and a square. Not all rectangles are squares, but all squares are rectangles. Fact check that. I used to teach geometry. Okay. Anyways, that being said, if you're talking like how far is Farragut to downtown Knoxville, you're gonna want to budget about 30 minutes to drive. Now, if you check out this, I took a picture from Google, like a Google map. This was at 4:30 in the afternoon on a Thursday. How far I drive from Costco, which is in Farragut, is it from Costco to downtown to Gay Street. Okay, so Gay Street is like the main road downtown. It's about 15 miles, and at the time you see heavy traffic from essentially basically the Cedar Bluff exit all the way going west, closer to more Walker Springs all the way to Level Road. You see red and orange. In the afternoons, you have heavy traffic both ways, and so that's what you're kind of seeing on that map. But I regardless would budget, depending on where you are specifically in Farragut, because Costco is kind of in the middle. You've got some Farragut East and you've got some Farragut West. If you're way out towards Loudoun County, like the county line, Knox County and Loudoun County line, you want to budget about 45 minutes to drive. Obviously, there's a thing called a GPS and Google Maps, and you can put it in there. But in most cases, you could say roughly 30 minutes. It's about a 30-minute drive. And while we're on this topic of how far away is it, how far away is Farragut from McGee-Tyson? So I Google mapped this, and it's about 14 miles. Depending on which way you go, you could take anywhere from 18 minutes to 27 minutes. So make sure you choose your routes accordingly. This is another one I would budget 30 minutes for in general. Again, it depends specifically where you are in the Farragut area, but overall, it's not that far from McGee-Tyson, about 30 minutes. And finally, most importantly, how far is Farragut from Dollywood? And the reason why I did this is so you know how far is it to get to like things in the mountains and all the touristy things and all of that. So to Dollywood, it's about 48 miles, sorry. And this is saying an hour and 11. There's 3 different routes it's showing. I mean, an hour 15-ish. Now on a Friday in high season, I would budget a lot longer. If you're going to Gatlinburg, I would budget 2+ hours, just because going through the spur, which you're gonna have to drive through from, like, you're gonna drive Cedar Bowl, Pigeon Forge through the mountains into Gatlinburg, I would budget 2 hours. So that being said, Farragut is Knoxville, or it is part of Knox County. If you're thinking downtown, about 30 minutes. All right, next up, number 2, is Farragut a nice place to live? Okay, so I'm gonna give you some pros and cons from my personal opinion, observations. I grew up here. I grew up in West Knox. I went to West High School. I didn't go to Farragut. We were rivals with Bearden, and Bearden was like, we don't care about you. Bearden at the time was super rivals with Farragut, okay? So West High School was just out there. But that being said, what was the point of all of that tangent? Oh, to tell you, I know what I'm talking about. I have many friends that went to Farragut. I have friends now that graduated from Farragut. My cousin's children go to Farragut. My friends go to Farragut. I used to work with half of the administrative team at Farragut. So anyways, I know it. That's the point. Okay, pros and cons. Pros about Farragut. Number one, it is close to the Costco. We have one Costco in the entirety of Knox County. And probably within, I need to Google that, I can't tell you where the next closest Costco is. We've got several Sam's Clubs. We got Walker Springs. We got 640. That is fine. But Costco-wise, there's one, and it's in Farragut, which should tell you several things. That is where the stuff is. We have this thing called Turkey Creek, and that is like an outdoor mall, and it's got everything from like Super Walmart, Super Target, Ulta, World Market, Loft, J. Crew Outlet. I mean, the list goes on. Belk, JCPenney, Publix. So all the stuff, some people are going to be very angry that I said that, but all the things, like swanky, bougie things, are in Farragut. Also, from a gym perspective, you've got Big Box, there's a Gold's Gym. You're not that far from a second Gold's Gym. You're not that far from the swanky National Fitness Signature Gym. You have Fort Sanders Health and Wellness, which is an awesome gym. So those just there are 4 big box gyms. Now, 2 of those, Gold's and Fort Sanders, are like in Farragut, okay? And then you've got Core Change. You've got F45 is not that far out. It's technically not in Farragut, although I think it is a 37922 zip code. Anyways, side note. You've got Orange Theory, you've got Core Change, there's like smoothie places, there's multiple coffee places, there is, Real Hot Yoga, they have a studio there, there's bar, like everything is there, okay? So that is a major positive. Also, they have a pretty great trail system and neighborhoods that back up to walking trails. Love that. Number 3, they have waterfront property. Farragut has water frontage in the form of Fort Loudon / Tennessee River. If you have not gone and looked at my waterfront properties maps, go look at those so you can see like where's the waterfront and where is it in relation to Farragut. Parks, they've got great parks, great places to like, they've got like an awesome park that's next to this like yacht club, and they have awesome Christmas lights. Anyways, Farragut, yeah, those are pros. Cons, to me, it feels trafficy, especially if you are far out Farragut. You're just like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting on Kingston Pike for days. I'm sitting on I-40 for days. It feels trafficy. My husband from South Knoxville, he cannot stand West Knoxville. Like, he will not go there because of the traffic. Whereas I'm it's bad, but I'm not gonna not go there. Do you know what I'm saying? So anyways, some people really are like anti. I'm like, yes, I acknowledge it does exist. Like the Elf movie, and he's like, you do exist. Talking about Santa. Anyways. Okay, so traffic, cons. It is a higher price point if you take that as a con. For some people, that would be a pro. So it is more expensive than if you were just in certain zip codes in Knoxville. Like 37934 and 37922 are the 2 Farragut zip codes. And these are 2 of the 3 most expensive zip codes in Knox County. The other one is 37919. So 2 of the 3 most expensive zip codes in terms of housing are Farragut. The other thing is like, that is maybe a con or maybe a pro, depending how you take this. But most people in Farragut are not working in Farragut. Like, most people are commuting somewhere else. So from a numbers perspective, if we just look at like from what data says about commute, 37934, over 74% of people are commuting 15 to 45 minutes. 54% 15 to 30, and then 21.7 30 to 45 minutes. And then if I look at 37922, 54% 15 to 30 minutes, 18% 30 to 45 minutes. So in either case, over 70% are commuting between 15 and 45 minutes. And the next highest group is about 20% that are less than 15. 70% of people are driving 15 to 45 minutes out of Farragut to get where they're going. So that to me is not ideal. And from a traffic perspective, depending on where you are in Farragut, you are not going to avoid the traffic. For example, I have a client, she purchased in deep Farragut, and her previous commute, where she was before, was 6 minutes, and her commute now is 45 minutes. So just check that out as you're looking at properties and see if that's something that realistically you want to do and you want to deal with. Okay, so those are some of my like quick and dirty pros and cons. If we look at what the data says, so AARP has what they call a livability index. And then I'm going to read this directly from their site. This score represents the livability of a zip code for the center of the selected neighborhood, city, or county on a scale of 0 to 100. The overall score averages 7 livability categories: housing, neighborhood, transportation, environment, health, engagement, and opportunity. Communities are compared to one another, so the average community gets a score of 50, so right in the middle, while above average communities score higher and below average communities score lower. So anyways, Knox County as a whole, livability score according to AARP is a 54, slightly above average. Farragut, both 37934 and 37922, both of them, according to AARP, have a livability score of 52, so slightly above average. So if we break it down like by zip code, things that both score high in, so both 37934 and 37922, they're slightly different, are in the 60s when it comes to engagement, civic and social involvement in the 60s. So things that are lower is, which I've already mentioned this, affordability and access to housing. So there's more competition for people that want houses in Farragut, but also the prices are higher. So that's one of the lower scores. The other low score in the 40s is neighborhood, which is access to life, work, and play. And that goes back into that commuting, etc. So the other thing I want to mention to you about pricing when it comes to what's it like, is it nice in Farragut, should I live there? Median home value in 37934, $624,000. Median home value in 37922, as of the time of this video, which is January 2024, is $604,000. Median, right? Whereas Knox County is about $390,000, according to this data chart. As a whole, certainly, it's more expensive to live in Farragut than Knox County as a whole, okay? So just from is it a nice place to live? Yes. Are you gonna pay more for housing? Also yes. Okay, so we talked about commute time. Real quick, is it nice in terms of weather? We have 4 seasons here, but I call them a mild 4 seasons, like our winter. It's not like we're having a blizzard, although I do have a shirt, because this is true, that says I survived the blizzard of 93. Because that's when the last blizzard was, and at the time I was 8 years old, and I literally remember it being the time of my life. Like my brother and I, he's 2.5 years older than me, and my sister was just a wee little baby. I guess she was 2. Anyways, whatever. The blizzard of 93. That's what everyone refers to when we think of like extreme weather here in the East Tennessee area. And then there was hailstorms in 2011, which is why a lot of roofs will be like, I'm 12 years old or I'm 13 years old now that we're in 2024, because they got a new roof because of the hailstorm in 2011. Okay. So that being said, the whole point of that is we are pretty mild when it comes to weather. Okay. So we're going to look at January temperatures, minimum and maximum, and July temperatures, minimum and maximum. So January minimum, 29 degrees. That seems like it's not low enough. I think we get lower than that. Personally, just saying. And it's saying January max around 45 degrees. I would have said it's closer to 50. I feel like we flip-flop a lot. And then average July minimum, according to NOAA, North Oceanic, you know what I'm saying. Anyways, average July minimum temperature, 65 degrees. And this is saying average July maximum temperature is 85 degrees. It feels like 95. It's humid, okay? In the summers, it is humid. I do want to acknowledge that. But those temperatures, like that's all of Knox County, not just Farragut. So that's not like, oh my gosh, the weather's so different in Farragut. If someone tells you that, don't listen to them, okay? The only time where you might see some difference is the fact that Knox County is so spread out. So like Halls, Coreyton area where you have like more rural roads that are covered by trees, like they in the past have been the reason for a snow day because buses can't get out there. But like for the most part, everywhere in Knox County has similar weather. Okay. The next question 3, FAQ number 3 is, what is the average salary in Farragut? So we're going to talk about the average salary of people that live in Farragut. So the highest income bracket is more than $150,000 per year per household. The median household income is $113,581. Now that is pulled up because if you look at, basically if you look at the percentage or amount of people within the above $150,000 household income category for both 37934 and 37922, it is the largest category. And the second largest is household income between $75,000 and $100,000. I also want to point out to you that both of them are in that higher than $150,000 is the largest bracket, and then you've got the 75 to 100, and then you've got some variation around $100,000 and 125 household income. So that being said, what are the top 5 occupations? And it's interesting because they're not the same for 37934 and 37922, even though those are both Farragut. I do want to say that a portion of 37922, that's essentially east of Pellissippi. So Pellissippi cuts north to south, and I-40 cuts east to west, and so does Kingston Pike. So when I think Farragut, I think Pellissippi and west Farragut. There are parts of 37922 over here that are east of Pellissippi. So I just want to, not all of 37922 is Farragut. 37934 is Farragut, and then Choteau area, South, Concord, all of that is 37922. Go check out my map tour, and this will make sense. Okay, that being said, top 5 occupations in 37934 are professional services, scientific, tech. Then you've got healthcare, education, retail, and manufacturing. So those are the top 5 occupations. And then interestingly, in 37922, still professional, scientific, and tech, healthcare, and social assistance, education, manufacturing, and retail. So retail and manufacturing are flopped for those 2 zip codes as 4 and 5. But overall, you have a lot of professional type job stuff going on. Okay, so that hits on average salary. 150 plus is the highest category of income, household income. Okay, I also want to say, I'm not saying that if you work in Farragut, that's what you're making. I'm saying people living in Farragut, that is household income, okay? So I just want to make that differentiation. Okay, number 4, what is the property tax rate in Farragut? Well, my friend, the property tax rate is the same in Farragut as it is for Knox County. That is $2.12 or 2.12% per $100 of assessed value. So, and then property is assessed at 25% of the residential market value. And then commercial is assessed at 40% of the commercial market value. So Farragut property taxes are the same as Knox County, $2.12 per $100 of assessed value. While we're on the tax situation, I want to address sales tax, even though the question is about property tax, but since we're talking about taxes, I just want to throw this in. We have a sales tax in Knox County, 9.25%. The state sales tax is 7%, and then Knox County is 2.25%. Farragut does not have an additional sales tax on top of that. Sales tax at 9.25%. Okay, number 5 and our final FAQ for this video is, what is Farragut, Tennessee named after? And the question should be, who is Farragut, Tennessee named after? So Farragut, Tennessee is named after Admiral Farragut, who was the first, I want to get this right, the first admiral of the United States Navy who was born in the Farragut area. So his full name is David Glasgow Farragut. And like I said, first admiral in the United States Navy. There's actually a statue of him at the Farragut Memorial Plaza, which was the site of the Civil War battle at Campbell Station. So originally, Farragut was referred to as Campbell Station and later named after Admiral Farragut, who was born in the Farragut area. So interestingly, this is one of the, Admiral Farragut was born in this area, in the Farragut area, on July 5th, 1801. Farragut was the first commissioned admiral of the United States Navy and is best known for his statement, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." The plaza where he sits has a bunch of like Civil War artifacts and history. Super cool. So anyways, yeah, Admiral Farragut is who Farragut's named after. Now, interestingly, Admiral Farragut also has some other stuff named after him, which includes what used to be called the Farragut Hotel. Farragut Park is a 9-hole disc golf course, and it's called Farragut Park. I just call it the disc golf park. I suck so bad at disc golf that the fact that I've even been there is insane. But I drive by it all the time. Okay. And if you are a disc golf junkie person, if you're great at it, it is a great park, super cool, and lots of varied terrain, everything from in the woods to out in the open field. And either way, I suck at it, okay? All right, that concludes our top 5 questions about Farragut, Tennessee, and things that hopefully help you to know if Farragut might be the right fit for you. So if you have questions, as always, I'm Haley Jones. Give me a call. Always click subscribe because I've got so much information I want to share with you, and I'll see you on the next video.